All right, this is Ubaid on behalf of V Electronics, and in this video, we'll be talking about the impact of different factors on the supply curve and the demand curve. All right, so when it comes to your supply and demand curve, we know that this is your supply curve where quantity goes up and the price goes up simultaneously. They're both directly proportional because of the cost of production, which increases the quantity produced. Okay, and assuming that this is your demand curve where the quantity goes up as the price goes down. Okay, and they're inversely proportional. All right, now we also know that this is your equilibrium point. Okay, let's assume that this is EQ. All right, now when it comes to movement along the curve, we did mention that, hey, listen, if the price wants to go up and down, okay, there will be movement along the curve. Okay, however, this is if all other factors are equal, okay, considering ceteris paribus. However, if there are other factors in the market that impact either demand or supply, there will be a shift of the curve either to the left or to the right. All right, whether it's a supply curve that shifts to the left or to the right, or the demand curve that shifts to the left or to the right. Now, some of these factors that we talked about in terms of demand were things like demographics, okay, the size of the population, okay, you have taste or preferences, okay, government regulations such as price ceiling, okay, price floor, so on and so forth, okay. Now, apart from that, some of the factors that did impact the supply curve other than price were things such as the cost of raw materials or input of production, okay, your government regulations such as tariffs and taxes, okay, as well as other factors, okay, such as change in technology, okay, which made the machinery more efficient. Okay, now, if for some reason, okay, say for example, the price of gasoline was to go up, okay, now this is not the price of the finished product, it's the price of gasoline, which may be an input of production. Okay, it could be the price of crude oil, for example. That may be the input of production. So if the price of either gasoline or crude oil goes up, what's going to end up happening is, okay, the demand for certain types of workers in certain occupations may go up. Okay, for example, if the price of crude oil was to go up, okay, the price of gasoline would go up, as a result of which the demand for okay, Uber drivers, taxi drivers, transit buses, school buses may go up. Okay, because this demand goes up to D1, we know that now the school bus drivers, the transit bus drivers, Uber and taxi drivers, okay, would be willing, okay, to work at a higher wage. Suppose this is wage over here because the employers are willing to offer a higher wage because the demand has gone up. Because the employers know now that they will profit from this new demand. Okay, because there is an increase in demand, they will make more profit as a result of which they want to share some of that profit with their workers, with their employees. Okay, as a result of which, so quantity demanded and wages will go up. Now, this is if there is a shift in the demand. Okay, if for some reason the gasoline prices were to go down or the crude oil prices were to go down, there would be a reduction in demand as a result of which the demand curve would shift to the left. And when it shifts to the left, okay, this would be your new quantity, for example, quantity demanded, and this would be your new price, for example. So this is, for example, your price two. Okay, so at this price, okay, the employers are willing to hire so and so workers because the demand has gone down and the demand curve has shifted to the left. Okay, whereas if the demand was to go up, okay, the employers would be willing to pay, okay, these wages over here, W1, and the quantity demanded would go up as well. This would be your QD1. All right, now if you were to talk about supply, the same concept applies to supply. All right, so let's say, for example, okay, because of the increase in price when it comes to crude oil, okay, the cost of production has gone up. Okay, so if this was your supply curve over here, this was your demand, this was your equilibrium, the supply curve would shift to the left because the cost of production has gone up because of a rise in the price of the gasoline. Okay, so the cost of production goes up as a result of which your supply curve will shift from S to S1, as a result of which this would be your new price, okay, at which the um, workers would be willing to work for. Okay, so this would be, say, for example, price one, okay, or wage one. All right, now the original wages were set at this level. Okay, so the original wages, let's say, for example, the minimum wages were 15 or 20 or $25 an hour. Okay, however, because the supply went up, okay, because the cost of production went up, okay, what ended up happening was, um, excuse me, the supply went down, supply of workers went down, as a result of which, okay, now you have fewer workers who are willing to work for a higher wage. Okay, so this is W1 rather than W0. Now, if for some reason the cost of production was to go down, the price of crude oil or gasoline was to go down, in this case, what's going to end up happening is the supply curve will shift to the right. And when it does, this becomes your new, okay, this becomes your new wage for all the employees. All right, so let's say this is W2. And at this wage, the employers, or in this case, the employees, would be willing to work. Okay, since there are so many employees over here. Okay, so this is QS2. All right, this is QS1. And this one over here, this will be your QS. So when it shifts to the left to QS1, okay, you have fewer employees working for a higher wage. When it shifts to the right, because the cost of production goes down and the production goes up, okay, you will have more employees working at a lower wage. All right, because obviously, as you hire more workers, okay, you do have to pay them. And if you pay them the same wage as when you had fewer workers to work with, okay, then obviously your cost of production would be too high. All right, as a result of which the employers would need to make some adjustments. And when they do make those adjustments, okay, the wages go down as the quantity of workers supplied goes up. All right, so that's it for this video. On behalf of V Electronics, this is Ubay. Have yourself a great day.